Eye's been destroyed. Cornea's lacerated and it's all disrupted.
شفت النور؟ You see the light.
You know, I've chosen to live in Africa. It's the longest I've been in one place since I was 18. What I always admired in doctors, certain doctors, were the guy that goes to a town, sets up practice, and stays there for 30, 40 years. I always thought that was the coolest thing. And I've always wanted that as a doctor. I like that idea of staying in one place and becoming part of the community. He's got shrapnel to the chest, to the face, to the eye, to his right hand, and it was several pieces of shrapnel. The main problem is the abdomen, so you have to take care of that first. He should do okay. He's young, he's otherwise healthy. If you don't screw something up, you should be okay. The lives of people here matter as much as anywhere in the world. This piece of shrapnel from his liver. A small piece of metal. Easily kill you. Everybody's life is valuable, and we can't lose sight of that, or else we lose our humanity. George. Okay, George. All right. Now, hopefully it's not bad. We'll see. So this is a typical case here for the Antonov bomber. His nose is completely missing. It'll heal. You know, we have to wait for it to heal over, but to try to get the nose back, it's something beyond what I can do. It was just the way the shrapnel was, the way he was. Inte mashi kandak wala win?
Teacher.
Huh?
Teacher.
Teacher.
He was teaching.
He was teaching. As he was getting down, the bomb hit you.
Yeah.
Were the children okay?
All the children are okay.
How many children were there?
75.
75.
Yeah.
Was the school destroyed?
Yeah.
I need a light. I have to catch me. Doesn't make any sense. None of that stuff makes any sense. It's all completely pointless. All this stuff is ridiculous. All right. Well, let's just clean and dress. That'll scur in eventually. All the war wounded are in this book. Here's George's here. So George is number 1,348, war wounded. We started this back in June 2011. The first group that came in, back from the very first day. So this is the chip from my camera. So I've got all the Antonov wounds and the civilians that were injured with the bombings and the artillery shelling or whatever are on this disc here. So this I hope to use at the war crimes trial for Omar Bashir. Well, the president of Sudan is Omar Hassan al-Bashir, who's been in power since 1989, had a coup.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
And he's an absolute dictator. He's a guy who's been indicted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes and crimes against humanity for what he did in Darfur.
Sudan, once Africa's biggest country, has been in conflict for so many years. When South Sudan became independent, it was supposed to usher in a new period of peace and stability in the region. But now, southern Kordofan. At its heart is the Nuba Mountains, where some 50 black African tribes have lived for thousands of years. Now there's fighting there once more in one of the most remote corners of a vast country.
The Nuba Mountains, it's rich with minerals besides oil. The valleys of the Nuba Mountains are very fertile. And Omar al-Bashir wants that, but he doesn't want the people. Bashir thinks that black is an inferior race. So he doesn't care for the people. He cares what is underneath the people.
The government is decided really to exterminate these people, I believe. The war is not just with the soldiers in the barracks. Attacking civilians means they want to exterminate the population.
They use a scorched earth policy. They burn the village down. They burn all the crops in the field. So you burn and you scarify the land. You send bombers at 20,000 feet. You bomb the place. You drive people off the land.
So by bombarding civilian populations, by refusing any basic services, by having starvation, maybe they will all leave and this will be empty land and there will be no more problems here. The greatest way of making a group of people really angry is to treat them really badly.
I am ready to die here in my homeland here, but I cannot run away. How will these children of mine going to survive? I do wear it a lot, but we cannot run and leave our patients. We cannot run and leave our land. I pray God protect the life of our innocent children to grow and give us the peace.
The fighting broke out June 6, 2011. After that, there's a lot of fighting relatively close to us in villages that were maybe an hour from here.
So we were all requested by the bishop to leave, and all the security bodies in the place told us we cannot protect you anymore.
Because the way things looked, we weren't sure if we were going to be overrun. We weren't sure what was going to happen. The diocese says there's one plane coming. If you want to stay, the choice is up to you. But we cannot guarantee you that we'll get you out of there. So all the expatriate staff, Kenyans, Ugandans, a couple of Americans were here, decided, look, we're out of here, and they left.
So we were left, Dr. Tom, myself, and Sister Rosio, the three of us.
I knew that if I left, some people would die. Not that I'm a magician, but there are certain things I can do that someone will survive. That's just a fact. So by leaving, that to me says that my life is more important than other people's lives, which I don't agree with. You know, I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong thinking. So let me stick it out with these guys. Even if we got shelled and whatever, let's see what we can do. I'm in it with these. I'm in it. I'm all in. Okay. All right. This is Martha. She's 22. She was at the place where they bombed on Thursday. It would be a long shot. We'll try to salvage the arm. I think she'll have an amputation. Just give her some time. Keep in mind that any airplane overhead is going to bomb and kill and maim somewhere. There are no commercial flights. There's nobody flying a Cessna overhead on learning how to fly an airplane.
Just passing over there. And this one drops barrel bombs. That's the antenna.
So they know when they fly overhead, they're frightening people, they're scaring people. All of us are tuned into the sounds. And every time we hear a car, at first, everybody has been here for a while. You pause for a second, you listen. Is that a car or is it the Antonov bomber? And your brain figures out it's a car because the pitch is different. Then you relax a bit. If it's a bomber, you kind of keep listening. The wind sounds like the jet. So you wait a second. Is that the jet or is it the wind? You imagine what effects this has on this generation of children. When their life is, they hear an airplane overhead and they jump into a foxhole.
My number one concern is that the hospital will be bombed someday. That at some point Bashir will just send some jets in and destroy it. He could kill everybody easily with those supersonic jets.
This is the theater of absurdity we've entered, this conflict. This is Omar Hassan al-Bashir's Theater of the Absurd. You know, Nuba Mountains is one of the few pockets left in the world where there's endemic leprosy. So we have quite a few patients still up there, both adults and children, up in TB Leprosy Village. There are a lot of myths with leprosy that's gone back. I mean, it's in Leviticus, it's in the Bible. Moses gave the law, they have to be cast out of the village, live by themselves, they have to announce themselves when they come, ring a bell. I mean, it was terrible. So leprosy attacks the nerves, causes extensive nerve damage. So look at his hands. The hands, he's got wasting of the muscles in the hand because all the nerve impulses to that hand are gone. That's called a claw hand. They're just shorter, they become short because the nerve impulse is not there. It just reduces in size automatically. It's all finger resorption. He's got some function, but he's lost a lot of function in his hand. This hand is in much better shape. I mean, the truth is, it is contagious, but it is not highly contagious. Leprosy is spread by the same way as tuberculosis. They're both mycobacteria, and they're spread by respiratory droplets. Both diseases, really, you need to be in close contact with somebody for a significant amount of time to get it. So by touching these guys and by touching the hands and touching the skin lesions, you can't get infected that way. Even if they cough on you, I mean, it takes a long time to get infected with it. He got a patch here in his face. But we got him early. We started treating him early in the course, and we can most likely avoid any nerve damage to his hands. It's very important to touch these people. You know, in the West, we're taught almost a standoffish behavior with the patients. Like, doctor-patient relationship is very formal. But I think the joke with the patients to touch them, I think is extremely important. These are people that have been rejected by society. They watch their bodies disintegrating. And if you can come and touch them, shake their hands, pat them on the back, joke with them, you know, put them in a full Nelson and, you know, wrestle them around a bit. They're a part of the human race like anybody else. When I was first in medical school, I was afraid of children. I was terrified of pediatrics. Finally, I got comfort with them. And now I can't imagine working here without the pediatrics part being part of what I'm doing. It's sometimes the only thing that keeps me sane and keeps me going. Lower the table a bit, Monday. Yeah. Oh, no, it's just too tight. All right, let's get a 38 in there. Gunshot wound to the leg, open fracture, it didn't heal. So we're trying to fix the plates and screws. It's a very high femur fracture, so really, it's gonna be hard to have this thing stick. You know, the problem is you're not an expert in anything. I mean, orthopedic surgeon, this wouldn't take this long. You just know what to do. But you go from this to a pediatric hernia to whatever, I mean, it takes longer. So, yep, jack of all trades, master of some. Even some of the stuff here is improvised. So I learned most of the surgery on the job. I was in Kenya for 8 years, working with a lot of different surgeons, and did over 2,000 operations there. This one I had to learn from books and how to do it. Shit. This one grabs the bone better. Yeah, it went very well. We'll have to wait and see. No spike in the ball, we finish the case. Hands and ups here. It's an Antonov overhead. Who knows where it's going? Let's see, make the circle around. If it gets a bit louder, then people will head for the foxholes. Make more of a dash for it.
Hi, I'm Ken Carlson, out of my film, The Heart of Nuba. While it doesn't tell you the whole story, my hope is that it'll make you aware of how terrible things are in Sudan right now, for the people in the Nuba Mountains and those who are risking their lives to save others. This is a story of good and evil, On the one hand, you have a government that is deliberately bombing hospitals and villages in order to kill a specific race of people. Sudan's genocide is ongoing, devastating, and all too often ignored. On the other hand, there are people like my good friend, Dr. Tom Catena, and his staff at the Mother Mercy Hospital who are, in the face of this evil, quite heroic. They give everything of themselves. They are the best of us, and they show that even when we have every reason to despair, there's always hope.
My name is Dr. Tom Catena, and I'm the lone doctor and physician at the Mother of Mercy Hospital. We're located in Gidel, which is in the Nuba Mountains. The Nuba Mountains are a disputed territory on the border between North and South Sudan. The Nuba are farmers. 99.9999% are subsistence farmers. So almost all of our patients that come are subsistence farmers. Very simple, very humble, hardworking. They're still very traditional in their thinking and their beliefs about disease and health. People that come from, 7 days, 7 days walk away. I can't tell how many patients come. They say, I've been 7 days on the road trying to get here. So they'll start walking from someplace a couple hundred miles away. They'll start walking, walk away, maybe they'll catch a vehicle going, part of the way, get a bit of a ride. It could take them 4, 5, 6, 7 days to reach our place. It's not unusual. The patients tell us stories all the time. Even the rainy season, they try to come, they get stuck in the rain, sleep on the side of the road. It's unbelievable what they put up with just to reach us. It's unbelievable. You really feel, you must feel bad, You feel humbled by, because you really want to do something. Someone comes and tells you, it's like I'm walking 7 days to get here. And you feel terrible if you really can't do something very, good for this person. The most difficult part of the job, the biggest hardship for me is dealing with deaths, dealing with patients who die. They're excruciating. The only way you can describe it is excruciating. It's physically painful and difficult to deal psychologically, but you've got to get over that because there's a line of people waiting to see us. So you've got to get beyond that. You've got to cross that psychological hurdle. Maybe try to figure out why the person died and try to learn from it, but then move beyond that. Because if you don't, you get paralyzed and you can't see other patients that you need to take care of. So Christ was telling the guy, look, if you really want to follow me, this is what you got to do. Sell what you have, get rid of everything, and come and follow me. Just be simple about it. Just kind of give up the stuff and make it something, don't make it something complicated. Just give up what you're doing here, give up what your goods, your life, and come and serve these people and follow me. And Christ's mission really was to serve the least of these, serve the poorest of the poor, and take care of people that don't have someone else to take care of them. So when I see that, it just resonates with me very strongly. Yeah, I can't imagine doing any other work that would be more rewarding. There's a feeling you get from doing this kind of work. And then, also, I was always fascinated by the lives of the saints, especially, say, St. Francis of Assisi was sort of my personal favorite. And then, I don't know, now, of course, I've gotten to Nuba and I've gotten very attached to these people, so there's also a bit of attachment now. I've gotten quite attached to the people there, so. The thing that impresses me about the Nuba is their sense of independence and their feeling of pride, but we have a sense of dignity. We are humans. We're the equal to anybody else. I love that about them. When the war started, this is June 2011, most of the humanitarian organizations, there weren't so many, but the ones that were here in the mountains, most of them left. Some of the hospital staff, the expatriate staff, left. I stayed behind, Amoni's sister stayed behind, and the priest stayed behind. We all felt the same thing. We felt this is really the moment of need for the people here. All that time when I was the only doctor, I was responsible for all the patient wards. So I was the doctor doing the rounds and following the progress and taking care of them. The only thing that really helped was the staff really pulled together. Come work with us for a period of time. Let's try to scale this up. Let's try to take what Aurora's doing, put it on the global stage. And I think that really is what appealed to me. And I hope during this short time I have with Aurora that I can do that. I can sort of bring together people in the bush, people that are on the ground that are doing the work, and then these big humanitarian groups and other actors. Everybody can kind of pitch in, work together, and try to find some solutions on a bigger scale than what we're already doing in Nuba.
Yeah, you say you're not a political person yourself, you don't see yourself as a political person, but what do you expect from the global community or from the people assembled here? What do you what kind of help, what do you expect, what would you want?
Well, I think, you know, for the work we do, the one thing you need is money. You can't do anything without money. So I would say free up some cash for people that are on the ground doing work and make the system easier for the guys that are doing the job. A lot of the big humanitarian donor agencies work with larger organizations on the ground, and the requirements that they need are very onerous. They're too much for the small actors. So I would hope to engage them in the conversation that, look, we need the help there, but let's try to ease up on the requirements. Make us accountable, but not to the point where we have to hire a full staff just to fill the paperwork out to get the job done.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically money.
Yes.
That's the most needed.
Yeah.
And what else would there be?
Well, besides money, then advocacy and political support to push these rogue governments into an area where they're forced to take care of their own people. I mean, a lot of the issues we have that we'll be talking about today and tomorrow are due to poor governance, governments that hate their own people. If you didn't have that, if they were forced into an area where they had to do the right thing, you wouldn't have some of these issues we're dealing with.
Everywhere in the country, I saw the traces of war. Abandoned fields, burnt down houses, demolished schools, churches, and mosques. I, too, would like to live in a world like this. That's why I came here. For 6 weeks, I walked the majority of the mountains with the rebels, and saw again with my own eyes that the Nuba Mountains are the least consumer-oriented place on earth. On the other side of the world, there is not one single shop, not one single road, not one single car. The only trade takes place in a few markets separated one from the other by a day's walk or more.
Some people, especially other countries, people like European people, they don't know about Nuba Mountain. But if they come here, they can see what Nuba Mountain people are. They can imagine, they can prove, they can know exactly Nuba Mountain are isolated from Sudan, but it is inside Sudan country, but it's forgotten. They are forgotten.
1/5 surrendered in that year alone to the government army, even though they knew what was in store for them. They were tempted by the bait, the food in the peace camps, and by that other more treacherous bait, education that would turn Nuba children into Arabs, but that would ensure their survival. The schools are being set up in the very camps themselves and set up by Western humanitarian organizations headed by UNICEF, supported by the sensitive heart of the rich world.
And in fact, I am accusing the United Nations of helping Sudan government, and this is part of the genocide through food.
Once, I used to lie to myself that I wanted to stay neutral. But now I find myself here, among the rebels against the ominous New World Order that everywhere tries to dominate. On the other side, I'm here, now, without UNICEF, Rockefeller, Coca-Cola, Marlboro, McDonald's.
Yeah. Small.
Just as elsewhere in the Third World, the civil war in Sudan is in the interest of the wider Western, the American and European, and the wider Eastern, the Arab and Asian powers. And these two are struggling to control strategic resources. The Nuba are just the saddest victims of these infinitely greedy appetites. And where are we in all this?
We are quite humble people, not one of that big nations who've been colonizing the world. So maybe that's why we can understand you better. We've been struggling for survival all the centuries. And before the Austrian and جميل كتير جميل